extra, read all about it. Get your copies while they last. Stop the presses.
And now for something completely different.
Are you ready for a little truth? Are we not entertained? Wisdom is the proper use of knowledge and experience. There are no safe spaces here. The truth shall make you free. It's showtime! So you want the truth, but can you handle the truth? Well, here's another fine mess you've gotten us into. Now that's entertainment. Enlighten me a little. What you say is quite logical. And what did we learn? Prepare yourself for a little sensory overload. I came here for the truth. 47 years ago, stand by the roll show intro. Roll show intro in 3, 2, 1, go.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.
Hello, America, family, friends, and listeners all around this planet we call home. This is the Craig L. Hayes Show, and I am Craig L. Hayes. It is, June 11th, 2025, and I'm coming to you from the Northern Command Center here in Enterprise, Utah. So, a lot of things going on, a lot of stuff happening. And people are showing their true colors and are not even being afraid to do it anyway. But before I get into a couple other topics of other shows, I want to first start off with what is being referred to as the Big Beautiful Bill. And I'll tell you right now, I think there is some pretty good stuff in there. I think there's a lot of amazing things that we're going to try to accomplish. I totally believe that we should do everything, put every effort forward in having no income tax on Social Security. That's the biggest crime there is paying taxes on Social Security. The other one is overtime. That would be a wonderful boost to the economy if we could get that in. I personally don't believe there should be any income tax, but if we're going to start eliminating things, let's start getting rid of the income tax by small measures if we have to, since no one seems to have the guts, the foresight, and the desire to just completely eliminate income tax. I've heard a thing said here and there a couple times that we should take and not have any taxes on any income less than $200,000. Okay, well, if that's what we're going to do, that's fine also. Is that what we really want to do, is start deciding how much money you have to make before you don't have to pay any income tax? I know it's all those horrible 1%. Those people need to pay every penny. Well, to be in the 1% in this country, it's only like if you're making like $70,000 in this country, you're in the top 1%. Did you know that? So all these idiots that run around there, crying about the 1% and making you believe that it's millionaires and billionaires, it's not, and you're an idiot for listening to them. It's your neighbor. It's a guy living across the street from you. It's your family. It's your kids. It's all these other things. They're the 1%. So if you're going to listen to Democrats and their stupidity, you deserve everything you get. If you're going to believe anything that they say and you're going to go along with it, then you truly deserve the destruction you're going to receive. But let's talk about the Big Beautiful Bill. Oh, tips. That was the other thing, tips. No income tax on tips. Well, I don't have a problem with that. If this is just going to continue and we're going to take and ratchet it up to get rid of all the taxes on these things and then get rid of it up to $200,000, then how about in the next bill we get rid of it up to $400,000, and after that it's $1 million, then after that we just get rid of it totally and we replace it with sales tax, a federal sales tax, federal sales tax and tariffs, and done with it. And let's get this slavery that's enforced by the federal government on the American citizens brought to you, brought to us, brought to everybody in this country for the last 100+ years by the Democrat Party and the 16th Amendment they pushed through with Woodrow Wilson. One of the most evil, corrupt people ever to occupy the White House. Well, I guess Joe Biden just way past him. So anyhow, it's a big, beautiful bill. There's a lot more money in there for border security. There's a lot more money in there for ICE. Oh, we need to hire about 20,000 more ICE agents and Border Patrol and just start ravaging this country. And we're going to do a topic today about the LA riots and what's going on there in just a little bit here. But this one is going to be about the big, beautiful bill. You have a lot of people out there touting how great this bill is and why it should be passed. Do I think it should be passed? I think it should be passed, but only if we actually put some spending cuts in there. I know there's a lot of people that are going, oh, well, if we put too many spending cuts in, it'll grind the economy to a halt. Okay, well, if we don't, then the interest rate goes through the roof, inflation takes off again, then economy grinds to a halt. What the hell do people want? What do you want in this world? Do you just want it to be peaceful and easy for everybody, for everything that goes on here? Do you just want to have no problems, no traumas, no nothing? Welcome to life. If life isn't kicking the shit out of you, it's not doing its job. Period. End of story. But I'd rather us take a little pain right now and make some things happen and fix some things before our kids and grandkids have to suffer through the stupidity that we've inflicted on them, because of the idiots, jackasses, morons, and twits that are back in Washington, D.C. I agree with what Trump wants to do, but they're all touting this $1.7 trillion savings over 10 years. Okay, it's not $1.7 trillion in savings. Okay, let's not be the retarded a-holes that are in the Democrat Party that push this crap. Why do we use the language of the Democrat Party and allow them to take and say things that are so stupid, and then we go along with it later and say the same type of stupid stuff? It is not $1.7 trillion savings in 10 years. If we're lucky, we'll get $170 billion saved this year through fiscal year, whatever it's going to be, in these spending cuts. Now, not charging taxes on Social Security and stuff. That's not part of that, okay? The economy can take off, but it's just going to be a 3 or 4 prong thing to make the economy take off. Let's talk about that savings, okay? If there isn't truly $500 billion this year in savings, spending cuts, this year, $500 billion, which sounds like a horribly lot of money, but it's not. If you guys were able to find $170 billion and say we're going to save that every year for the next 10 years with this bill, you're all lying pieces of crap. You're all liars. Mike Johnson, you're a liar. Thune, you're a liar. Anyone who's touting this is a liar. Because all it takes is the next Congress to say, no, we're not going to go along with that. Here's our new spending bill. It's actually going to be more, and all those spending cuts that we thought we were going to make, we just re-implemented them and put them back in. So they're gone. So if you're lucky, you're going to save $170 billion out of $7 trillion. Here's how you work this. If we're bringing in $5-point-something trillion of revenue every year, we spend $5-point-whatever trillion of spending. Period. End of story. We quit playing this game. And you Republicans just went right along with the same bullcrap. 1.7 trillion, lie. $170 billion saved this bill on this bill. Big friggin' deal. Now, if you guys would get off your asses if you guys would start doing some work actually back there and implementing all these things and putting them into law, and all these things that Doge found that's illegal going on in this country, like the hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars in fraud that are going on between Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid alone, that alone, it would do two things: cut down on the deficit, and here's a real novel thing, and it would take in maybe help to sustain those programs some more years, because in the next 5 to 10 years, those programs are going bankrupt. So what are we going to do about it? Mike Johnson, Thune, what are you guys going to do about it? You can all talk nice, you can all shake hands, you can all pat each other on the ass when you're back there in the halls of Congress. I know you guys are almost all the most demented and derelict in your duties of people I've ever seen back there. But I'll tell you what, why don't you start leading? Why don't you start doing things like it's supposed to be done? Being a leader means taking hard positions and pushing things through. I had a discussion the other day with a friend of mine who's a hardcore leftist, liberal, socialist guy. And we were talking about what's going on back there, and he was talking about Mike Johnson. And I said, I think Mike Johnson is very weak and pathetic in the role that he has as being the most powerful man in the nation. Everyone always thinks it's the President of the United States the most powerful. No, he's the most powerful man in the world. The most powerful man in the nation is the Speaker of the House, because he controls all the money that the government brings in and spends. He doesn't have to be the king to be the king. He can be the king because he's his accountant. See how that works? You have more power than the president if you control the purse strings. And Mike Johnson is afraid to control the purse strings. And my other point to my friend was how much respect I have for Nancy Pelosi. And he thought that was really weird. And I said, no. You are confusing respect with believing anything that she's doing. She is corrupt, evil, and pushes an un-American, anti-American, America Last agenda in everything she did. But she knew she had the power. And did anybody in her party ever vote against anything she wanted to get done? No. You know why? Because she held them, she put them up. She put her little clawy, skinny little hands around their throat in her office and said, you will vote for this. I'm going to put you in charge of picking up dog crap for the rest of your life in Congress. And they fell in line. Mike Johnson, what's wrong with you? Grab these guys at these rhino Republicans and say, hey, come on into my office. I'm going to tell you some things here right now. You're going to go along with all these spending cuts. You're going to go along with all these things. We're going to put these bills through. We're going to ram this down the throat of these damn Democrats who are evil and corrupt and want to destroy our nation. Or I'm going to take you off of every committee you've ever had. You're going to sit in your office and you're going to just kind of vote on stuff. And when you don't vote right, I'm going to take your office and I'm going to take your staff from you. I'm going to take and make your life miserable here if you don't get in line. See, that's how power works. That's how Nancy Pelosi got her stuff done. And you pathetic Republicans that are back there, keep on telling the American people when the Democrats are in power, oh, if we could just get into power, we could straighten all this out, and you do nothing. You do absolutely nothing. You're useless. You're pathetic. I have no use for you. So, we've identified the problem. The true problem is not that we don't have people back there trying to do the right thing. We have Republicans in name only, rhinos, people that you vote for and you put back there because they say they're going to do a good job and they're going to fight and they're going to work hard and all this stuff. And then they turn around and get back there. And as soon as they get back there, they run across the aisle, shake their hands with the Democrats on the other side and say, hey, what do you guys need us to do for you? Instead of looking across that line there in Congress and calling it a demilitarized zone right there and saying that's the enemy and we have to destroy them. We have to destroy their ideology before it destroys this nation. We have to take and bring them down and put their policies, their party, and their ideology on the burning heap of pile of garbage, whatever you want to call it, of history. Are we willing to do that? You have people back there trying, but isn't it amazing the guys that are actually trying to do the things that need to be done, the guys that are trying to make things happen, the people who are trying to do the things that we sent them back for are blocked by our own party. I accept the Democrats fighting against us on these things because the Democrats hate anything that doesn't keep enslaving the American people. The Democrats hate anything that doesn't destroy this nation. They are the party of destruction. They are the party of slavery. They are the party of segregation. They are the evil and most destructive party that we've ever had in this country. Because they are actually the Communist Party USA party, but with a different name. So do we pass this big, beautiful bill? I don't know. I think the Senate, some guys in the Senate like Rand Paul and a few others should get in there and say, yeah, well, here's the spending cuts we want to see. All those things that Doge found, we want those cut out right now. We want everything done. We want, before we sign on this bill and spend this money, I think we should take and have the bills that make all these tax deductions or tax exemptions in the law, which would take 5 minutes to do. You go to the House of Representatives and write the law up. It says there shall be no taxes on income less than $200,000. There shall be no income taxes on tips. There shall be no income tax on Social Security. There shall be no income tax on, what was the other one? Tips, Social Security, on overtime. On any work performed over 8 hours or after 40 hours. No income tax. All those in favor say aye, aye, done. Send it to the Senate, aye, done. Send that to the President, done. That's the part of the law now. Now we go on to the other parts. All things that the Doge has found, we make a law that lists everything that Doge found. And we say everything that Doge found, we put that into law. We stop the fraud. We stop the abuse. We start firing people. We start incarcerating the criminals. All in favor, aye. Send it to the Senate, aye. President signs it, done. Now let's talk about that bill. The big, beautiful bill. Now we can talk about how much we're actually going to spend. We bring in $5 trillion. $1 trillion goes to the interest. That's how insane this is. $1 trillion of insanity brought to us by idiots and evil people. $1 trillion. $1 trillion of your tax dollars a year goes to feed the interest on $37 trillion in debt. Doesn't go to pay one penny off on it. If everybody back there had their way, I'm not saying everybody, if the Democrats had their way and a lot of you rhinos had your way, that debt would be 50 trillion, 80 trillion. They don't care. They don't care. I do. Because if it goes up any higher, it'll take even more money. You know, we're almost at that point where the debt, the interest on the debt, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid are going to take the entire budget, every tax dollar that comes in. At that point, what do we do? At that point, how do we take and pay for our military? And everyone's like, well, we don't need to, we'll cut back on the military. Really? In this world that's getting more and more dangerous, where we have the crazies of Iran now have nuclear bomb capabilities. We have China rattling the swords of war against us in several different ways. Russia's lost his mind. Putin's basically insane, I think. North Korea is just sitting back watching all this, and you have Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and any other organization, including Al-Qaeda, ready to take and attack us on any moment, and you think we have to cut back on the military? We have to get better and smarter with our dollars we spend on the military, but that's insane to get rid of anything that's going to protect us. Then let's not even talk about HHS, Health and Human Services, anything that helps the people out there. I think we should get rid of it, personally. There shouldn't be a welfare system by the federal government. There shouldn't be a housing system by the federal government. There shouldn't be a medical system by the federal government. We shouldn't have anything to do with that. That should be a state's responsibility. Along with probably a half a dozen to a dozen other agencies should all be eliminated. That would bring us back closer to in line. We're heading for trouble, people. We're heading for trouble, and nobody wants to do anything about it, and all we keep on hearing about it is, and that's the thing I have to take an issue with Donald Trump, he wants his bill passed, he wants that big, beautiful bill passed, and anybody who stands up and says, hey, where are the cuts at? I'm not voting for this unless there's some cuts. Now you're obstructing things, and he threatens to primary you and get you out of there so he can find somebody else. Well, the guys that are saying that are staunch, hard conservatives / libertarians, saying we're in trouble, we can't go along with this, we can't do this. And you're threatening them? You're telling them that they're not on the team? Who the freaking hell do you think you are? You're claiming to be the leader of this nation and wanting to take and push this stuff and get our country back in alignment. Why aren't you with those guys and grabbing the rest of those rhino SOBs, putting them up against the wall with your hand around their throat and saying, you're going to fix this and here's how we're going to do it. We're going to cut $500 billion this year out of the budget. And everything that Doge pointed out we're going to get rid of and fix. That's how you do it. You don't threaten the guys that want to do that. You don't threaten the guys that are trying to fix it. You don't threaten the guys that are trying to take and make this country more in alignment and save our country from fiscal destruction. The Democrats have no problem with that. They want to see the country destroyed. Democrats hate this nation. They hate the Constitution. They hate everything about us if we're not in alignment with their ideology, which is the ideology of Karl Marx. Jeez, people. Trump, shut the hell up. Let me help you out on that right now. Shut the hell up. Why aren't you encouraging the rest of the Congress to go along with the guys that are trying to save this nation instead of just saying we need to get it passed, and if you don't go along with what I've got right there, then you're the problem. No, the problem is the rhinos and the Democrats. Gotta get tired of this game. Get so tired of these people. So that's about where I sit on a lot of this stuff on this big, beautiful bill. Bull crap. There's nothing big and beautiful about it. There are some really cool things in there that need to get happening. And there's a lot of waste, garbage, and crap in there that needs to go away. 1,500 pages? Are you shitting me? 1,500 page bill? I thought only the Democrats put lunatic things like that together that people can't even read. Here, let's sum it up in 15 pages. Let's get rid of 90% of that thing. We'll get it down to, okay, if it takes 25 or 50 pages to get this bill done, that'd be fine. 1,500 pages to cut $170 billion out. Well, we should be cutting $2 trillion out. And I understand the basic economics. government spending accounts for almost 45% of the federal of the growth, the national or domestic national product, or whatever you want to call it. 45%. If you cut all that out way too fast, you'll send us into a tailspin. If you don't do it at all, we're going into a tailspin. If you sit there and kick the can down the road a little bit farther and put a couple little things in, we're going into a tailspin economically. So what do? Do you just go along with what's going on, put $170 billion worth of savings in there and add another $1.5 trillion to the deficit, and then go, we'll get to that eventually. The deficit goes up $1.5 trillion. The interest payment goes up even higher. We take more money out of the American people's pocket to pay that bill, and it puts more strain on the economy. Inflation goes up higher. Good thinking up there, you jerks. Good Lord, what's going on with you people? I've sworn a couple times here. Usually I don't swear on these things, but I've just about had it with these people, including Donald Trump and his stupidity. I support him for what he was trying to do. I support him on a lot of things. But today is going to be a day that I'm going to disagree with him on a couple different things here, and I've written down a couple topics here. And I'm not going to be in alignment with him. I am a constitutional conservative libertarian. Yes, those three things do work together very nicely. We don't hurt people, and we don't take their stuff. Libertarian right there. You may be a good deal maker, President Trump, but you're not a conservative. I understand that. A lot of us understood that, but we also knew that we needed to get this country back away from the Democrats, because if we had had 4 more years of a Biden or Kamala Harris, it'd be game over in this country. We'd have had another, 20 million more illegal alien criminals in this country. We're already having a hard time getting the first 10 to 15, 20, whatever there is, out of here. We're having a hard time trying to get the first couple 100,000 out of here, let alone the first 20 million, thanks to Democrat a-hole judges who violate their oath, who violate the Constitution, who violate their authority and assume powers not granted to them under the Constitution. So, very simply, big beautiful bill, should it get passed? I could care less if it ever got passed if it doesn't have at least $500 billion in spending cuts in there. We need what's in there, but we need bigger spending cuts, number 1 and 2. But we also need to get these tariffs in place, and we need to get the economy roaring, which will help get rid of a lot of these problems too. We need to get the regulations gone. I'll make it really very simple. Any regulation not listed by an agency, not listed specifically in the Constitution, should be completely ignored by the American people and by any business person. I don't care what the agency is, from the EPA, Department of Energy, Department of Commerce, Department. Just keep naming them. I don't care what we want to say. We do not listen to them. We do not obey them. Make it simple. Anyhow, that's going to be this show for right now. And I'm going to move on to another topic here in just a couple minutes. And I hope you listen to the next one. Remember, this is the Craig L. Hayes Show, but Talbot, you say it so much better. Go ahead.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.